The second Formula V race of the day is about to get underway here at Kirkistown. These VW engined single-seaters produced a fantastic first race earlier on today, and now with some new names at the front of the grid, we're set to see even more action and excitement, I'm sure. The race one winner was Philip Sheen, but he starts all the way down in 6th on the grid for this one, so he'll be hoping to try and carve through the order if at all possible. Well, this should be a fascinating race then. Anthony Cross and Dan Polly sharing the front row of the grid for this one. The two of them separated by just 18 thousandths of a second in qualifying. Gavin Buckley and Tim Murray share row 2, with Trevor Delaney and Philip Sheen race 1 winner on row 3. Robert Fleming and Jack Byrne are next, ahead of Jordan Kelly and David O'Loughlin. JB Farrell and Justin Gray are next, while Sean McCallion and Nick Mulhall will hopefully not tangle with each other in this second race of the weekend. Revs starting to rise then. The number 1 car of Anthony Cross launches from pole position. It's an even start for both the front row then, but Gavin Buckley was away well as well from row number 2. Towards the back there I noticed that David O'Loughlin had another slightly tardy getaway. They all race into Debtor's Dip for the first time then. And the wheel-to-wheel action begins, and it's actually 3 abreast there for the race lead, almost as they head into Colonial, but it will be Cross that hangs on. Polly still second, I think, and then Gavin Buckley and Tim Murray was that, debating 3rd position. And it looks as though it will still be Buckley just about ahead, Murray in 4th place, and then lots of entertaining stuff going on further back. Robert Fleming there, the yellow machine going up the inside. Philip Sheen runs out over the curbs, and he was briefly into 5th position ahead of Trevor Delaney, but I think that's Delaney going back through in the 66. Yes, it is. So it is, I think, despite all of that shuffling in the first few corners, going to be grid order as they head onto the back straight for the first time. Racing down towards the hairpin then, and immediately the slipstreaming starts to happen. Oh, contact there, and that's Delaney, I think, losing his front wing as they charged down the back straight. So, no, it wasn't Delaney, it was Buckley, I think. I mean, Buckley, our onboard camera driver then, that lost his front wing. He's got Tim Murray behind us, and so Gavin Buckley getting a bit too close to the back of Dan Polly's machine as they went down the back straight, and that will certainly not be helping his aerodynamics in a straight line. Streak past the start-finish line at the end of an entertaining opening lap, with Anthony Cross leading the way, Polly 2nd, Buckley 3rd, Murray in 4th, then a gap back to Philip Sheen and Trevor Delaney still debating 5th, and Sheen is back in front of Delaney now, and there Robert Fleming dives up the inside of Jack Byrne, who, remember, faded towards the end of our first race, having looked good for a podium finish, ended up dropping down into 5th position by the flag, so he's got some incentive there to improve a little bit in this second race. Byrne then losing out to Fleming, but the two of them staying pretty close together as they go into the Crossley chicane once again. Onto the back straight. Cross, though, starting to make a bit of a break here at the front of the field as they race down towards the hairpin. That slipstream is so effective, and so Dan Polly doing everything he can to try and stay in the wheel track of the race leader, even if it is a few car lengths back. Then we're on board with Delaney, who's 3rd. Murray's still 4th, and in the background that was Fleming, I think, going up the inside of Trevor Delaney, and Delaney gets him straight back because Fleming couldn't stop the car, and actually he might lose another spot now to Jack Byrne, who's back alongside him again. The green machine heading into turn number 1. Does it appear first? Yes, it does. So Jack Byrne back ahead of Fleming, who's had a rather an up and down day. Starting towards the front in race number 1, a bad first lap put him way down the order. Then he got caught out on the oil, and in fairness, he wasn't the only one, but the oil has now been cleared, of course, before this second race, and so the track conditions are far better, and we're already starting to see lap times that are a second or so quicker than we saw in race number 1. Damage there to the front of Byrne's car, maybe that nose cone looks like it's just flapping a little bit in the wind, but you can see the top 5 cars really getting away here slightly. Then Cross, Polly, Buckley, Murray and Sheen, with Delaney now in 6th, 7th Fleming, 8th Byrne, and Jordan Kelly, I think that is the red machine, in 9th position. First side-by-side battle is Fleming versus Byrne, and Byrne is fending him off for now, weaving from one side of the road to the other, then some 3-wide action behind as they come into the hairpin. Very close quarters racing once more from the Irish Formula Vs. These 1.3 litre VW engined cars that are very popular over in Northern Ireland, as they are over in England as well. And you can see why, because it's a relatively affordable way of going racing, and it really is proper racing, very close indeed. It's a bit like a cheaper version of Formula Ford, really. Cars not quite as quick as Formula Fords, but they have many of the same sort of characteristics. So Jack Byrne and Robert Fleming then continuing to circulate nose to tail. That is indeed Jordan Kelly behind them, I think, number 99 car, so This is a fairly tight battle, but they are losing time now to the leading pack. You can see them getting further away on Jack Byrne. Goes off at the chicane. Now, Jack Byrne, that looked almost as if it was something that broke on the car. I don't think he took too much curb. Entirely sure, but Jack Byrne bounces his way back on the road. Now, he doesn't seem to be slowing down, so if there is an issue, he feels he can manage it, but that always looked like the car just wouldn't turn through the left-hander. So he, once again, unfortunately, enduring a slightly trying race. The leading quartet go through. They're dropping Philip Sheen now slightly in 5th. So Sheen, the race 1 winner, who was living with the pace of these very quick drivers at the front of the field in the early stages, but he is now starting to just fall away slightly. It's the 2 red cars really at the front of the field, Anthony Cross and Dan Polly, that appear to be pulling away. On board now with Gavin Buckley in 3rd. Looking back once again at Tim Murray, who is really harrying us there in 4th position. Buckley looking to try and get a better exit there in his Sheen FV chassis Formula V. And couldn't attack into the chicane on the exit though. There's a big wobble there for Gavin Buckley, and this is Murray's chance. Carries visibly more speed off the corner. Buckley runs him off the road almost in trying to defend the position, but Tim Murray will go through. So he's into 3rd position now, Tim Murray. And we'll now try and set off after the leading 2. Tim Murray, of course, was on pole position for our first race, but had that spin on the oil whilst debating the race lead with Jack Byrne and Philip Sheen. So he's into 3rd position now then, ahead of the wounded Buckley with that missing front wing, but it doesn't actually seem to be slowing him down massively. This, though, is the fight for the race lead, and the first real challenge for the race lead is made by Dan Polly up the inside. No, Anthony Cross, that is, sorry, trying to get past Polly. So Polly had already got past him somewhere. Didn't spot where that happened, so Polly now the race leader then, and Anthony Cross trying everything he can to get through, but it is going to be tricky, you would imagine, to get through here. The number 17 car is quick. Dan Polly makes few mistakes, and so Anthony Cross is going to have to get inventive here, I think, to get this race lead back. So the 2 red cars circulating close together, which is a commentator's worst nightmare, and I didn't spot initially that they were in a different order than they had been a lap ago, but they may well change again now, because Anthony Cross is once again alongside Dan Polly to the outside into the hairpin. Inside line you would think would prevail, but they're going to run wheel to wheel right the way through the corner, but no, it will be the 17 of Polly that hangs on then. Cross tries the switchback. Meanwhile, behind them, they're side by side for 3rd, and Gavin Buckley is back ahead of Tim Murray. He got a run down the back straight and has now completed the manoeuvre coming out of the hairpin. But as soon as Murray slipped back into that slipstream, you could see his car pick up speed. He's back up the inside again now through Debtor's Dip. The leaders are debating the lead again now, and through on the inside goes Anthony Cross. He's back ahead into Colonial. That was a really nice move. Tim Murray is also back ahead of Gavin Buckley, so you don't know where to look in this race. Leaders then into Fisherman's, and a defensive line being taken by Anthony Cross, who's once again reacquainted with 1st position. Polly, though, has got past him once, so he knows that he can do it again, in theory, if he needs to. And right now he does, because he's stuck behind, staring at the gearbox of the number 1 car again. Tim Murray and Gavin Buckley still fighting over 3rd place. Bouncing over the grass was Philip Sheen there in 5th position, trying to go after them. But Murray wasn't particularly rapid off the chicane either, so he is under pressure again now from Buckley, going down into the hairpin. Leader defends the inside line there. Cross trying to keep Polly behind. What's going on for 3rd? Is it still going to be Murray? It is, but only just. Buckley again tries the tighter line out of the hairpin. It's a corner that really opens up on you though, so actually the switchback is not an easy move to make at the hairpin, because you can, regardless which line you're on, you can open up the steering quite early through the hairpin and get a good run onto the straight. Not a good run through the first corner there for Anthony Cross, so Dan Polly's gone back ahead of him. And then side by side for 3rd position here with Murray and Buckley. So these 2 pairs of cars swapping positions almost by the corner, it would seem. That's what Formula V racing is all about, though. And actually behind there is now another pair, because that looks as though Trevor Delaney's back ahead of Philip Sheen now. Just see, yes, there, the black car ahead of the white, and Sheen's on the grass again, and he's now in danger of getting told off for exceeding track limits. Leaders side by side once more. On the left is Polly, on the right is Anthony Cross. So Cross has lost the lead again, but he's gone back through around the outside into the braking zone. So the number 1 car of Anthony Cross back ahead now, Dan Polly. But they're going to continue to trade positions, I think, here for the bulk of the race. Then you've got this, what's becoming almost a 4-car train for 3rd now. because Tim Murray's back ahead of Gavin Buckley, with whom we ride on board now across the start-finish line. We're looking back now at Trevor Delaney, who's back into 5th, which is where he started the race, and then Philip Sheen behind him. Another corner and nearly another lead change. Anthony Cross having to really get his elbows out to defend from Dan Polly. But on that occasion, Dan couldn't go around the outside, so it's still Cross that hangs on. But every time we get to that back straight, they seem to change positions. And then actually down the pit straight, they seem able to get a run on each other as well. So this, I think, is going to run right down to the last lap, which means we're in for a bit of a grandstand finish, I think. Then the fight for third, and the man with the pace at the moment is the man third in shot there, Trevor Delaney, the black and bronze number 66 car. We're looking back at him now from Gavin Buckley's car, and Delaney gets a nice exit over the curbs through the chicane, gets that slipstream, pulls to the right, his left, the outside line down the back straight. The leaders are side by side again though, and Dan Polly, no, he can't get up the inside of Anthony Cross that time. Then the third place squabble. Tim Murray turns into the hairpin ahead, but up the inside is coming, over on the outside, sorry, was going Trevor Delaney. He couldn't get past the number 3 of Gavin Buckley, and this is bringing Philip Sheen back onto their tail. So this is now turning into a 4-way scrap once again. Back down the pit straight then, which way does Delaney go? To the outside, because to the inside has gone Buckley, potentially to try and defend from Delaney, but also to attack Tim Murray, which he's done, and he's alongside Murray. Is he through? He's on the outside line into Colonial. Murray will brake as late as he dares, and holds on to the position. Brilliant racing here though between these 4 drivers now. Philip Sheen hammering the curbs behind, looking to try and find a way in here. Sense that something has to give here, because Tim Murray and Gavin Buckley have been fighting over this third place pretty much since the start of the race, and they've now been tripping each other up for a few laps. It's just bunching everybody together. Eventually someone will make a mistake and the order will probably change fairly comprehensively. Is this the opportunity then? Down the back straight they go. Delaney closing on Buckley, but Sheen is catching him, and they're all getting a tow from Tim Murray in front. Up the inside line this time goes the 66 of Delaney as he made that one work. To the outside has gone Buckley. I think Buckley will lose out here, surely. The noseless number 3 car, yeah, gets elbowed right out, and through also goes Philip Sheen. So 2 places lost there for Buckley. So a promising race now starts to unravel, but as we've seen, overtaking is a little easier in Formula V racing than in many other categories, so he should be able to fight back. At the front of the field, the leader at this particular corner is Dan Polly, back ahead of Anthony Cross. So Cross will have him in the crosshairs now once again, trying to get a nice slipstream down that back straight, and maybe, well, who am I kidding? He will definitely attack into the hairpin, and more than likely will be successful. It seems that whichever order they're in, staying in front is almost impossible. And there, look, that's Delaney ahead of Murray now. So Delaney, not only has he got past Gavin Buckley, but he's actually into 3rd position now. So Trevor Delaney on a real mission now. Started 5th, dropped to 6th early on, and he's now into a podium place once again. Here comes the aforementioned umpteenth lead change between Anthony Cross and Dan Polly. And actually, no, Cross can't go around the outside at the hairpin, so Polly fends him off. Getting into the latter third of this race now, though. So it's now starting to become a tactical battle. Do you want to be leading going on to the last lap? I would say the answer is probably no, because of the effect the slipstream is having. You can see it in action again there. Oh, Anthony Cross goes... That was an odd move. He got past Dan Polly on the exit of Debtor's Dip, but we've seen that a couple of times actually, and in both directions. Polly getting past Cross and vice versa. We've seen overtakes on the exit of Debtor's Dip between these two. It's Cross back in front now. Oh, and that's Philip Sheen. What a shame. Philip Sheen is off the road, pulled off the road, I think, there between Colonial and Fisherman. So he's out of the race, presumably with a mechanical issue. So our race 1 winner out of our second race, just as he was starting to make some forward progress as well. That is a real shame. But he'll be back at the next round, I'm sure, looking to try and repeat this sort of performance. So the leaders now have quite a big gap over everybody else. It is Delaney still 3rd by the looks of it, from Murray and Buckley 4th and 5th. Anthony Cross to the outside, Polly to the inside, but Polly actually not late enough on the brakes there, so Cross... That was interesting, because Cross was on the outside line there, but he was actually able to brake later because of that, and hold on to the position into the corner. Someone's been on the dirt by the looks of it, coming out of the hairpins. There's a bit of mud and grass that's been strewn across the track, but it's well off the racing line, so that won't be too much of an issue for our drivers. And the 3 of them fighting for 3rd place come back across the start-finish line again, with Delaney now finding out just how hard it is to stay in front with the effect of the tow around here. Tim Murray, Gavin Buckley right on his tail. Through Colonial 1, Colonial 2, then into Fisherman. Philip Sheen still trying to figure out what's happened to his number 28 machine. But he'll be watching the racing with interest as well. This is the battle that he should have been part of, and indeed he was part of, until his car decided enough was enough and it pulled off the road. Now, good run there from Tim Murray. Closes back in on Delaney as they come onto the back straight, but this opens the door possibly for Gavin Buckley to retaliate. He's got a nice double slipstream here. Whichever way he goes, he'll have a tow. He goes to the outside on the way in, hoping to take advantage of these two maybe tripping over each other, which they may well do if they're not too careful. Oh, Delaney having none of that, eases Murray out wide. But yeah, look at the run that Buckley gets on the exit of the corner. Much quicker off the turn than the two cars in front, and he goes back ahead of Tim Murray again. So Gavin Buckley back into 4th position, Murray down to 5th. One place lower than where he started. It's Delaney that's made all of the moves in the middle portion of the race, but he's just really having to mirror drive now to keep them behind. Oh, and Buckley locking up there big time into Colonial. Murray's off as well. Tim Murray's off the road. So they were all braking as late as they dared, and I think a couple of them found the limit there. So Tim Murray's gone straight on all of his own volition, I think. And Gavin Buckley very nearly locked up and ran into the back of both of them. That all now frees up Trevor Delaney, who finally has a bit of breathing room. He's broken the toe, I think, and that could prove to be crucial. It's going to be tough to catch him now, I think. It is still Buckley in 4th. Murray, I think, rejoined in 5th position. Yeah, there he is in the background. Oh, but Buckley's pulling over. Gavin Buckley pulling off the road. So, well, it's all going on now again, all of a sudden in this race. It's been a cracking race up to this point, but now a couple of them starting to hit issues, and Gavin Buckley appears to be out of the race as we go on to the final lap of the race. The leaders as close as ever they were. I think it's Cross still ahead of Polly at the moment. Yes, it is, but Dan Polly, you can be sure, will try and find a way through. Now, has he positioned himself right here for the final lap? Did he want to be leading? Is he happier being in 2nd place to get the run down the back straight? All of these are questions that will get answered in the next 30 seconds or so. He's forcing a defensive line here for Cross. Into Fisherman's, goes right round the outside line. Looks like he's keen to get through before they get to that back straight, which is interesting. He doesn't necessarily feel, therefore, that the slipstream will be enough to allow him through. Again, he forces Cross to move to the middle of the road into the chicane. That should mean that Polly is quicker off the corner, which he is marginally. He'll have to rely on this slipstream to close in, though. Can he get close enough to have a go? One more corner remains in the race then. Anthony Cross has the lead. Dan Polly wants it and he's trying everything he can to take it off him. Pulls to the outside line into the hairpin as late as he dares under braking. They turn into the right-hander. Anthony Cross gets into the corner first. On the exit, though, Polly has a better run. He's got the slipstream. It'll be a drag race to the start-finish line. It's going to be very, very close indeed, but I don't think that Polly will quite get there. Pulls out at the last minute, but the checkered flag goes to Anthony Cross by 78 one-thousandths of a second. A near dead heat finish between the two of them, and that really was a suitable result after what was a sensational battle between the pair over the entire duration of the race. Trevor Delaney is 3rd, Tim Murray re-inherits 4th at the end, whilst Jordan Kelly had a quiet run to 5th. David O'Loughlin gets to the end this time in 6th, ahead of JB Farrell, Robert Fleming and Jim Gray. Then Nick Mulhall, the last of the finishers, quite a lot sadly failing to get to the end, but what a race it was, and a brilliant victory for Anthony Cross. Anthony, a great race victory. Typical Formula V race, that really, wasn't it?
It was good and close, yeah. Got a good start. The two of us were side by side down into the first corner, and then was probably ahead for the first few laps. And then I knew once Dan got into tow range, he was going to be giving me trouble, and trouble he gave me. So we swapped back and forth. I don't know how many times we swapped position, but yeah, it was a great race. It was enjoyable. Always looking out for the last lap board. I knew that was the important one, to make sure we were had that covered. But we were in the right position as we crossed the line.
Did you want to be leading on to the last lap or second?
It didn't really. Yeah, the last lap coming I was looking for the last lap board. Wouldn't have really bothered me coming up past the last lap board, or I was first or second, but just making sure that it was within range to. The tow coming up the back straight was having a big effect there today. So actually on both straights it was because the wind is actually at the calming down a bit. Just looking at the windmill behind you, the wind is at the calming down a bit, so it was having an effect on both straights, but seemingly the back straight seemed to be making the biggest difference.
Well, it was fantastic to watch and a great victory.
Thanks very much. Thank you.